not a coronation, but it is a consecration. And coronations of human beings, rightly understood, are consecrations. So what I mean by that is, David is coronated or anointed. We don't really have coronations in Judaism, but we have anointings. They are consecrated. Blessing is a form of consecration and dedication. There is only one true king, and that is God. Our instinct is to treat our lives like ours and everything in our lives like ours. But if God is truly king, then everything belongs to him. Rabbi Soloveichik himself is and that theme begun on Rosh Hashanah, then runs through all of the high holiday liturgy, all the way till the end. So Rabbi Soloveichik, in a brilliant insight, ponders the end of Ne'ilah, the last prayer of Yom Kippur, where we say something like, and you have taught us, God, to repent, L'man nechdal me'oshek yadenu, so that we will refrain from the theft with our hands. It's a very strange phrase. There's a lot of sins that we're supposed to repent from. What does it mean you've taught us to repent so that we refrain from theft? And the idea is, said Rabbi Soloveichik, when you're a custodian in Judaism, if you misuse the object of which you're a custodian, you're a thief. So a cleaners, let's say, that's supposed to be storing a fur coat, but they wear it to a party instead. Right? That's an act of theft. Because you're using something that's not yours in a way that you're not supposed to be using it. In a similar sense, our lives, our children's lives, we're custodians of those lives. They're not ours. When we use our own lives or our children's lives in a way that we're not supposed to, that's an act of theft because it's a violation of the custodianship with which we've been granted it. And it's true about our own lives. We're stressing the aspect of our children because human beings are more possessive of their children than their own lives. We'd gladly give our lives for our children. But even as when push comes to shove, we give our lives for our children, we don't actually think about how we sacrifice our children all the time to our own values. Just by the way we live our lives. It's a wonderful story. Tim Russert writes this in his memoir of working for Daniel Patrick Moynihan, that Moynihan was being interviewed in New York about the borough president's race. And he told Moynihan in advance, Russert used to work for Moynihan, that you should just shift, when they ask you who you're endorsing in the borough president's race, you should just shift the question to talking about the World Series. And Moynihan said, great, who's in the World Series? He said, the Yankees, which is his team. So he knows nothing about sports. So he's being interviewed live, and they said to Moynihan, they said, so who are you endorsing the borough president race? And he says, there's only one race in New York, and it's the World Series. And if the Yanks don't win it today, Torres is going to win it for them on Tuesday. So after the interview, Russert says to him, how did you know about Torres? And Moynihan says, who's Torres? So he says, that's a Yankee pitcher. He's going to pitch if the Yankees lose today. He says, if you didn't know him, how did you mention him? He says, well, I was in the makeup room before the show, and some kid walks in wearing a Yankee hat. And I asked him, I said, so you think the Yanks will win today? And the kid said, I don't know, mister, but if they don't win it today, Torres will win it for them on Tuesday. So he said to him, he says, how can you go out on live TV and just, say what this kid told you? And he puts his arm around Russert and he says, Tim, if you can't trust a 10-year-old in a Yankee hat, who can you trust? Now, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is not that Yankee fans are good people, because they're not. They're monsters, okay? The point of this is, that's the most controversial thing I'll say this evening. But the point of it is that our children are sponges. They just imbibe what's said around them, right? That's what they do. And we sacrifice them in the way we live, because they're just going to be imbibing what they get from us. If we truly understood that, we would live differently. We don't. That's the part of the wake-up call of Rosh Hashanah. Try to bring that home to us.